As you all know by now, I believe planning for your future is important when it comes to building wealth and becoming financially free. One of the most critical steps is looking at ways you can invest your money to maximize your returns. WeBull is an all-in-one, self-directed investment platform that provides an amazing user experience. Some of the key features are zero commission, free real-time quotes, multi-platform accessibility, full extended trading hours, and 24/7 online help. Create an account by clicking on my exclusive link in the show notes, and Webull will give you 2 free stocks valued up to $250. Even better, deposit funds into your Webull account, and they will give you an additional stock valued up to $1,400. Start investing today with Webull, and thank yourself tomorrow. Welcome to the Financially Free Journey podcast, and I am your host, Courtney Dyer. This podcast aims to dispel the seemingly complex topic of personal finances, money management, debt, credit, investing, and even retirement. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about credit and specifically how to repair bad credit. Before we dive into the episode, though, I have to quickly say thank you to all of you guys that are listening and each of you that have taken the time to leave a 5-star review for the podcast. Reviews help our podcast to be discovered more frequently by new listeners through various podcast platforms. And I'd like to do a shout out to one of the reviewers. I don't know your name, but the username was ho2300, and they wrote, "I look forward to listening to this podcast. Courtney knows all there is to helping you financially, and she makes it seem so easy. She gives you the keys to help you become successful in your goals and budget." Thanks again, ho2300. I'd love to talk to you more about your goals and your budget. And thanks again for taking the time to leave the review. Seriously, you guys, I love helping you feel empowered and reaching your financial goals, and that really is what pushes me to help create more content to share with all of you. Okay, now I want to dive into talking about credit today, and living with bad credit is possible, but it is very hard. Bad credit can make things extremely difficult and impossible at some times, and really just more expensive. Here is one example of how bad credit can make things more expensive. Did you know that insurance companies often charge a higher interest rate and premium for drivers that have a bad credit score? Another example of how bad credit can make things impossible is, did you know that a lot of employers and landlords will check your credit to see if they either want to hire you or even rent to you? So if you're getting a new utility turned on in your name, here's another example. The company will actually check your credit and decide whether you should be required to pay a security deposit because the risk is greater that you're going to pay that bill. Cell phone companies are also going to run your credit to see if you're going to be required to have a cosigner to establish an account. The list goes on, and we know that bad credit will actually affect you in one way or another. So let's talk about what you can do. If you have already created some spotty history on your credit report, or you have some collection accounts or a delinquency that are continuing to destroy your credit and haunt you, it's time to take control of your credit now. You may have heard commercials or seen billboards for professionals that quote unquote repair credit. The truth is, guys, you do not have to hire a professional to repair your credit, and they actually legally cannot do anything that you can't do. So save some money, save yourself some hassle, because it's really hard to find a reputable company that will repair credit in the first place. So let's talk about some steps that you can take to start this journey to repairing your credit. Step number 1, I want you to get a copy of your credit report from the 3 major credit bureaus. Before you can really start to repair your credit, you really need to understand what is reporting on your credit report in the first place. Your credit report contains all of the mistakes. I know it's hard to look at, but it contains all of the mistakes that you've made that have led to your current credit condition. You need to take the time to read through your credit report to see what negative items are affecting your credit score. Now, by law, you are entitled to a free credit report from each of the 3 credit bureaus each year. This yearly credit report is actually only available through one website. That website's annualcreditreport.com. And if you prefer to order it over the phone or by mail, you can do that as well. But it's really convenient to go onto annualcreditreport.com and get your free credit reports. And if you already use your free annual credit report, you can go to websites like Experian.com, and you can also get a free credit report there as well. But it is important to keep in mind that certain lenders do not report to all 3 credit agencies, which is why it is so important to obtain a copy of all 3 reports. Even if the event isn't reporting to all 3 agencies, the event actually still affects your credit score with all 3 agencies. So take the time to get a credit report, get a copy from all 3, and do the research needed before you start your credit repair journey. Okay, step number 2 is to review your credit reports for reporting errors. So now that you've got a copy of your credit reports and you've reviewed them, you might see some reporting errors, and this is actually pretty common. And if you don't take the time to catch it, this mistake can negatively report on your credit history for up to 10 years. If you have a long credit history, your credit reports are most likely several pages long, and try not to get overwhelmed by this process. Take your time. It's a lot to digest and it can be pretty dry, but the process is absolutely worth you taking the time. Step number 3 is now you've got to create a plan. You have ordered your credit reports, you've reviewed them, you've identified any reporting errors. Now it's time for you to put your money where your mouth is, and you need to decide what needs to be repaired. Here are some common items that I want you to keep in mind that usually need to be repaired when you're looking at doing this process. Number 1 is incorrect information like accounts that aren't even yours or payments that are incorrectly reporting as late. Number 2 is past due accounts that are late, charged off, or have been sent to collections. 3, maxed out accounts that are over the credit limit. So I want you to take a moment to go through and create a plan and look for some of those common reporting errors. So step number 4 is to dispute credit report errors. You have the right to dispute any information on your credit report that you believe to be inaccurate, incomplete, or if you think it just can't be verified. The best method for disputing items is typically going to be online. It's the fastest way, and it's usually much easier. But one thing to consider, though, is that your disputes are really important, and I want you to take your time. And if you actually do them through certified mail with a return receipt requested, this is an important aspect to consider because even though it takes more time, this protects you with a paper trail, and the credit bureaus legally have 30 to 45 days to investigate and respond to your dispute. Another tip is if you send multiple disputes, you need to make sure that you're sending these disputes separately, but also make sure that you look up a credit dispute template online. Just Google it, save it to your computer. This is going to help save time and really make your disputes look professional when you're sending them into the credit bureaus. Investing and diversifying your funds within the stock market is a top strategy that the wealthy use in order to continue to build their wealth. If you're trying to strengthen your financial health and have ever thought about investing, WeBull is a platform you need to check out. WeBull was designed by top experts in the financial and tech industries to create a streamlined and simple user experience. WeBull knows that you, as the individual investor, is an important part of the market, and you should not be ignored. You should feel empowered with better information, tools, services, opportunities, and lower costs. Some of the key features are zero commission, free real-time quotes, multi-platform accessibility, full extended trading hours, 24/7 online help. Create an account by clicking on my exclusive link in the show notes, and Webull will give you 2 free stocks valued up to $250. Even better, deposit funds into your Webull account, and they'll give you an additional stock valued up to $1,400. Start your investing journey today with Webull. So now when you send your dispute, you need to include a copy of your credit report with the item you're disputing highlighted and a copy of any proof that you have that supports this dispute. If you don't take the time to do this and to provide enough information when sending in the dispute, the credit agency can actually decide to just throw out your dispute and to say it's frivolous and to decline it. So make sure that you're disputing items that you can really send in some documentation to support your claim. Also, an alternative to disputing items through the credit bureau, guys, is to dispute your items directly with the banks or the companies that are reporting the negative item in the first place. The bank or business has the same legal obligation to investigate your dispute within a certain period of time and then to remove any inaccurate information. Okay, so the next step is to tackle past due accounts. So you've tackled the inaccurate information on your credit report. Now it's time to tackle the past due accounts that are reporting. Your payment history is one of the biggest areas that impacts your credit score. In fact, your payment history accounts for 35% of your score, to be exact. So now putting that into perspective, if you have a bunch of past due accounts reporting, this is significant in the aspect that it's going to decrease your credit score and it needs to be immediately taken care of. The goal here is to have all of your past due accounts reporting as current or at least paid. First, get current on the accounts that are past due but haven't charged off yet. If you don't know what a charge off is, it's where you are 180 days past due on an account, and this is one of the worst account statuses that you can have on your credit report. Accounts that are delinquent are accounts that are past due, but they haven't hit that 180-day mark yet. These are accounts that you can save from being charged off and really where you need to focus your time. First thing is you need to contact that creditor and see what type of arrangement can be made in order to bring that account to a current status. Many times the creditor will actually drop late fees and interest and any additional fees that have been charged in order to recover some of the funds. They may also be willing to work out a payment plan where you can break up the remaining portion that you owe into multiple payments and then bring your account to current. Another option is to really look at doing what's called a re-aging of your account, which is where you'll actually show your payment as current rather than delinquent now and in the past. So now that you look at your accounts that have charged off, this is the next step. You need to still realize that you're responsible for a charged off account and the balance that you owe. As charged off accounts age, they start to really hurt your credit score less and less, but the outstanding balance can still make it hard or even impossible at times to get approved for new credit in the future. Once you pay a charged off account, typically the account status will change to paid with an account balance of 0, but the charged off status will continue to report for 7 years from the date that it was originally charged off. Another option with charge-offs is to settle the charge-off for less than the original amount that you owed to that creditor. What this means is that the creditor actually agrees to accept a settlement amount and to cancel the rest of your debt. You may even be able to convince that creditor to delete the charge-off status from your credit report completely in exchange for your payment. But I do have to warn you that this is possible, but it is not easily done. But I just want you to know that it is an option out there that you can try to negotiate with the creditor. Okay, step number 5 is to bring high account balances below your limit. Your credit utilization rate is the next heavy hitter when it comes to your credit score. And if you have any accounts where the balances are actually higher than your credit limit, you need to immediately pay down your balance and bring it below your limit. Your credit utilization rate accounts for 30% of your overall credit score. So this is an important step that you do not want to skip. Now, if you're not able to immediately pay down your balance, you may want to look at doing something like a debt consolidation loan, and that will get you down, obviously below the limit that's available. Okay, the next step is to get new credit. This can be the hardest step in this journey. As I mentioned earlier, your payment history accounts for a large part of your credit score, so creating positive credit history through new credit can work wonders for you. And if you don't have any credit accounts available and open, you need to create new positive credit history. You may have to establish new credit accounts to do this. Some easy ways to reestablish credit can be through something like a retail store credit card or a secured credit card through companies like Capital One. So let's recap some credit repair tips just to make sure that you are well on your way to a better credit future. Number one, salvage what you can, but don't compromise the accounts that are in good standing while working to repair your bad accounts. Step number two, spread your disputes over time. Don't send all of your disputes at the same time in order to make sure your disputes are being fully investigated. Next, be cautious of closing out credit accounts once you've paid them. This can actually temporarily lower your credit score for up to a year, and it can be really hard to open new credit when you're trying to repair. I hope that today's episode really helps give you guidance and ideas on how to tackle your credit. I know that it can be hard and it can be a lot of work, but if you're consistent and you follow the steps, you will be able to repair your credit. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. And if you're not already, make sure that you're following us on Instagram. It's at Financially Free Journey and Twitter at Financially J for daily tips and motivation to help you on your financially free journey. Until next time.
This information is not meant as a comprehensive guide to investing or as a source of specific investment recommendation. The information is general in nature and is not intended to be and should not be construed as legal or tax advice. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult your financial advisor prior to investing. Investments are not insured by the FDIC or any federal or state government agency and are not deposits of or other obligations of or guaranteed by Zions Bank Corporation, National Association, or its affiliates, and may be subject to investment risks, including possibility of loss or principal value or amount invested.
Have you heard of WeBull? It's a simple, easy-to-use platform for investors just like you. Create an account by clicking on my exclusive link in the show notes, and WeBull will give you 2 free stocks valued up to $250. Even better, deposit funds of any amount into your WeBull account, and they'll give you another additional stock valued up to $1,400. Start your investing journey today with WeBull and thank yourself tomorrow.